Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. I generally don't review black ships because most of the time they're really just tech tree ships with marginally different stats and a reshuffle of the ship skills. But I make an exception today because this is the Black Takao. And the Black Takao is currently in the Blitz Pass and is a tier 8. So that is rather unusual. Usually it's, I think, tier 6 and tier 7 at best, but I don't think I can remember having seen a tier 8 sort of premium sitting in the Blitz Pass. And I say premium, they're technically not premium ships. The black ships are slightly different, but the only difference here is that, in terms of captain training, it works exactly the same as a premium ship. I think the only difference is that you don't necessarily get the same boosts in terms of XP and silver, but even that, I'm not 100% certain if that's the same with these things or not. Anyway, it's a Black Takao. So what's the difference between the Black Takao and the regular Takao? Well, we're already looking at ship skills, so here we see the main difference. The regular Takao gets a precise aim, the Black Takao gets a rapid reload, and 2 fuel smokes, and gets an extra heal. So that is somewhat interesting. Well, let's have a quick look at, and these are completely the wrong ships, have a quick look at the stats and see if there's any other kind of difference here between the two of them. So yeah, 3 precise aim on the regular Takao, and 2 rapid reload, 1, and 2 fuel smokes and an extra heal on the Black Takao. There is a marginal difference in hit points, but really it is marginal. It doesn't have any practical impact. The turrets have a slightly better traverse. I mean, these are Japanese turrets. They're not known to turn particularly well. The torpedoes are completely identical, so is the AA, and so is the concealment. So yeah, for all intents and purposes, it's a Takao, but with a different skill set. So let's have a quick chat about the role of a Takao. The Takao and the Japanese heavy cruiser line in general is having somewhat of a niche or specialized role. These ships are relatively stealthy, and they have a crazy amount of firepower, but they are cruisers at the end of the day still, and as such do need to be played cautiously when coming under fire from battleships. They don't generally have much utility, so they're pure sword cruisers, and these are perfect flanking ships. These are ships to get into island positions. These are ships to get into nasty positions from where you can make something happen. The problem with the niche play is that the enemy team needs to let you do that. So a Takao is most dangerous when you chase it, and the same goes for the other Japanese heavy cruisers. A kiting Takao, because also the torpedo angles are better towards the rear, being able to just drop torpedoes in your way and spam you with these relatively excellent HE shells is a force to be reckoned with. At close range in a brawl, the armor, especially the deck armor, is relatively light on these ships, and they are pretty large and long, so they will take a lot of damage from pretty much anything that shoots at them. Now, like I said, in terms of utility, against the destroyer, maneuverability isn't the best. So for that, the setup with a precise aiming makes sense, because you generally want to play these things from long range, you want to spam torpedoes, and you want to be in positions where you have some time to dodge incoming shell fire, because otherwise you will not have a ship very soon. So how does that work with the Black Takao? Because this is an aggressive setup. We do have a fuel smoke. We do have an extra heal. That all tells me this ship's meant to be played a little bit more aggressively. And you can use the fuel smoke to, cover your turns, or for kind of terminal run-ups against things like battleships when you're trying to sink some torpedoes into them. But this is not a destroyer. These things are big and have citadels. And the rapid reload obviously is also meant, given you don't have the precision in return, is meant to be there just to increase the rate of fire that you have on the main guns. And this was a bit of an, like when I was looking at it first and thinking about it, it was a bit of an awkward idea, because playing a Japanese cruiser aggressively sounds interesting, but also sounds like a recipe for disaster. But let's go through the setup. I have played around with a couple of possible choices. I have tried the turret traverse, because you already have a slightly better turret traverse than on the regular Takao. And if you play aggressively and you maneuver aggressively, turret traverse becomes more important. So that's a valid choice. I ended up using the main battery mod 3 because the dispersion, well, it's okay, it's not monstrously good. And you do rely on just getting a lot of shells on target. By the way, if you are playing Japanese cruisers, Japanese heavy cruisers, the HE is really good. The AP can be surprisingly good against things like destroyers, because the AP penetration isn't monstrous. I have actually done more citadels with HE on these things than I've done with AP. And so just something to be aware of, that the HE shells are actually really good on these things. I'm using the steering gear mod in slot 2. You could also use the propulsion modification. And I'm actually having a concealment build. You could do the traditional build with propulsion in 2 and steering in 3. Totally viable for a more aggressive ship, especially if you are playing aggressive. The concealment mod is not quite as useful as in a standard Japanese cruiser build, where you're more playing at max range. But I still kind of like it for the surprise in the opening, and for the occasional disengagement when I'm running out of hit points. But these would be valid. This would all be valid builds. So this is by no means canonical. The historical camouflage. I am assuming if you're already spending money on buying the Blitz Pass to get the Black Takao, you probably want to spend 3,500 gold to get the historical camo as well. It gives you mine battery range, torpedo range, traverse speed, and surface detection. So all good things to have, although they are, except for the traverse speed, not necessary for a more aggressive build. So it's not like a must-have of anything. You could easily just play with the free camo as well. I haven't talked about the elite bonus. You can get the weird cruiser modernization mix of all things. You can get more hit points, large caliber AA damage, doesn't matter, and main battery traverse speed, or you get the reload down and get main battery traverse speed. So I went for the reload. And that gets us to a 7-second turn time, which is okay for a heavy cruiser. A 10-second base reload, and obviously we have the rapid reload, but it's only a rapid reload one, so it's not going to make a huge difference here. And we almost get to a base American heavy cruiser turret traverse with this setup, so it's not too terrible. And we have a 7-kilometer surface detection, which isn't destroyer level. You can't outspot destroyers, most of them. There might be some you can, but most of them you won't be able to outspot. But you're still getting close enough that it's a pretty nasty surprise for them. So let's have a quick look at the commander. Now, given that this is a rapid reload setup, we don't need to use the marksman skill, which means we can use the fully prepared, which gives us the repair kit cooldown time, which is good because we get an additional repair kit. So you want to heal early because you have 4 heals on these ships. You want to heal early and make the most of that. And obviously, you do want to have the master reloader. I don't think the timing is super important with the rapid reload because they are relatively fast on the reload anyway with 10 seconds. But if you want, you can figure out the details. And obviously, as you can see, this is a black ship. The captains don't need to be retrained because it works exactly the same way as a premium. All right, anything else to look at? I believe that's about it. So let's see a bit of gameplay with a slightly more aggressive Takao play than I would usually do. So I've tried to follow the idea of what I think the idea with this ship is and see if she works if you play this thing a little bit more aggressively. The first battle is a tier 9 game. We're playing base capture on Aurora against Izumo, Amagi, Black Gascogne, double Takao, but regular ones, and a Benson on the enemy team. The Benson is probably not feeling too great about this with 2 cruisers on the enemy team. It's Not as easy. But the very first thing I'm going to do is obviously, being on Aurora and spawning on the left flank, I am going towards the eastern end of the map and making sure that stays clean. Now you see that the Takao comes out with HE preloaded, and that's generally a pretty decent idea because the HE on these ships is very good. That's not to say that the AP doesn't work, but it does not have as much penetration as you find on other ships. The team calls out to defend the base, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just, and this is also where the concealment comes in. This allows me to even stealth torpedo, by the way, if I wanted to. But generally, like I said, this is a bit of a more aggressive play because I think that's the idea with this ship. So just keeping this clean in case the destroyer comes around here or somebody else comes sneaking around here, and we'll see what we're getting ourselves into. Plenty of battleships to burn and torpedo, so just scouting the line here. Nothing's there. Okay, there's the enemy Takao. I've outspotted him, so I've got the advantage here. So I can take my time. I can already be in the full turn, and he just fired, so now I can open up on him and drop some torpedoes just as area denial. And and now we're putting her in reverse, rapid reload on. You see the other Takao has probably got torpedoes away as well, so we're just gonna wait here. Yeah, he knows, obviously. He knows what he's playing. There come the torpedoes. Knew these were coming. There comes the HE Citadel. Like I said, I think he damage controlled a single fire, so I am going to try and go for the permafire. He's also getting hammered by the battleships from that turn. Now I need to go forward again because Takao has torpedoes on both sides. And can we get a permafire? Maybe. Looks like that's a no. But the enemy Takao is now on such low health that yep, there comes the second torpedo drop. That's why I was going forward again. That he's definitely not playing aggressive anymore. So he had the same idea: stealthy battleship, go up the flank, and if nobody covers the flank, then you know, you can get some flanking fire in. That's what these ships are for. That's how you would play a Takao. So that was a legit play. He just had the unfortunate situation that I know that move, and I was actually coming around here. So lots of fires being put out over there. Let me see if I can join in on the fun. We've got an Amagi over there to set on fire. There's also an Izumo, and we are a bit heavy on this flank at this point. So I'm not too sure if I need to help out on the other side, but for now we're just gonna keep going here. No fires, unfortunately. Maybe somebody comes through that gap, so I'm gonna drop some torpedoes into it. And not sure if Izumo is backing away into that. Okay, that's a nice double fire on the Izumo. Is he damaconing that? It looks like these are perma fires. Now it's a perma flood as well, because we did have a Swedish destroyer, I believe, on our team. Yep, there's the Öland, who is thoroughly enjoying permafloods on both the battleships there. And one of my torpedoes took out the Amagi, and the Gascogne has taken out the Izumo. So now the enemy team is this game's over. There's just the Gascogne left over there. And I think the destroyer doesn't even know what happened to his team. He's somewhere in the rear. That North Carolina is probably not going to survive again. Yeah, the Gascogne takes out the NC. But we weren't in for a Ruffle Stomp medal anyway because we had already lost the battleships. So I'm just heading back towards the cap. Because two battleships here can handle the Gascogne. Yeah, especially that he's broadsiding. I'm just lending some fire support, and he is shooting at me. So I'm gonna fuel smoke up and go in the full turn. Just dodge the shots mostly. It's a French. There's a destroyer. Nope, there was a destroyer. The Erland's just taken out the Benson. Well done, Erland. No fires. Again, bad luck with the fires. This happens sometimes. But look, there's the other Takao. And like I said, that's what these things are for. They are flank runners. Unfortunately for him, the battle's already over. So there's not an awful lot of things that he gets to do. Plus, we've still got a Hipper here, and yeah, I'm just gonna... Why is the Hipper shooting HE at him? Oh my... Maybe he had the HE loaded for the destroyer, but the destroyer died like minutes ago, so... that's a bit questionable. Takao is, as an HE spammer, is obviously not damaconing a single fire, and you know, you've lost the battle already. You're the last ship alive. Don't waste the damage control. It's just 1,000 silver that you don't need to spend. And goes after the Öland or after the Hipper maybe. He is going to be in the turn, so torpedoes out where he might go. The fire is out. He dodges the Öland torpedoes. Oh yeah, he knows he's up against an Öland, so yeah, he's just going in, so trying to do some damage. He's not going to do an awful lot. Hipper has switched to AP. Fuel smoke up, rapid reload on, double fire, Damacons unnecessary, you're dead anyway. And he has dodged my torpedoes. I'm slowing down. I know that the fuel smoke works, but yeah, there come the Takao torpedoes. I knew these were coming, that's why I was slowing down already, as to not to run into those. So that was a decent battle, I would say. 65,000 points of damage. Could have been more if I had gotten a little bit more lucky with the fires, or with some of the torpedo drops. But definitely workable. So where did we come in the team? Second, just after the Öland, who's been farming permafloods on all those battleships and been very, very happy about it. In the second game, we are playing Epicenter in Cage. Again, it's a tier 9 battle, but we have 3 tier 9s on the enemy team. Okay, so Shokaku, Iowa, Kearsarge, lots of planes going to be in the air. A Richelieu, another Black Takao, a Harlem, and an Östergötland. That's a lot of planes. So that's the Dutch airstrike from the Harlem, the dive bombers from the Kearsarge, plus the Shokaku's torpedo bombers. So we've got our work cut out for ourselves, which means I'm going to keep an eye on who I can stick with, who actually has AA on our team. Because that is going to be a lot. But it's Epicenter, so we do have a Yugomo who's probably not feeling all too confident about this. Especially with an Östergötland around there, and that's a radar. But and a carrier, and a Kearsarge, and Harlem. So we'll see how that goes. Probably going to just run down the flank a little bit and go scouting, depending on where the carrier is going. We do have an Iowa. And the most important thing is, where's the Shokaku going? The Shokaku is not scouting. So that's already a good sign. The enemy carrier player is might be new to this, maybe. But seeing the Shokaku not scouting is a good thing. And it looks like the friendly carrier is pulling the fighters, or gets his fighters pulled. I don't know. But okay, the friendly carrier doesn't know what he does either. He's just been dropping the center cap. There comes the Östergötland, and there's the Black Takao. So they are seeming to concentrate around that corner. I'll give a couple of shots and say hello. And we do have the fuel smoke in case we need to get out. And Östergötland's already going, nope, I don't want to be here. Now Black Takao is opening up on me. But he has been air spotted. So I just need to dive under all that return fire. And I should be firmly out of torpedo range, but let's see if we can duke some of the shots. That Iowa is dodging torpedoes already and haven't even dropped any. There comes the carrier. So the carrier definitely has noticed me and does want to drop me, but it's only a dive bomber drop. And yeah, that's one fire, don't really care. So now I just need to loop around and get back in and see what we can do next. We are holding the center cap. The Yugomo has surprisingly brave, but I mean the Shokaku doesn't know what he's doing. He's not even trying to drop the Yugomo. He's trying to carrier snipe the Lexington by the looks of it. So yeah, good luck with that. There comes the Östergötland, so Yugomo is buggering off, and the carrier fighters are duking it out over the center cap. And there will be some torpedoes in the water. Yep, there they are. And there is... what? Yep, that's the Shokaku there. These are Östergötland torpedoes, so I'm not super concerned about taking one or two of those. I've got 4 heals, so... yeah, the Shokaku, I believe, has realized that he's a little close, and Iowa still sits in the outer ring. And it's an Iowa. Precision is not what these things are known for. There comes also the Kearsarge. See if we can get a fire started on anybody. Yugomo smokes up here. Sorry, I'm too fast. I wouldn't be able to utilize the smoke. And I don't want to sit still in the smoke. I've got fuel smoke if I needed to. But let's deter the Östergötland, because yeah, our Lexington is... I was trying to smoke up the carrier in an emergency with the fuel smoke. But yeah, our Lexington is... has not been effective. Alright, so Östergötland. There's an island between me and him, so if there are torpedoes in the night, he's not even looking at me. So torpedoes are not going to come my way probably, unless he's... but I am going to recapture the center cap here for us. And that Östergötland is now solo on health, that he probably doesn't want to get back. I just need to be careful because there's a bunch of battleships. Yep, there comes the Iowa again. There's also a Richelieu. Don't sit still. Don't sail in a straight line when you're doing this kind of maneuvers. Even in a more aggressive Takao, you definitely don't want that. But the center cap's ours. We obviously have lost our carrier, so we are a little behind in things. But we are holding the center cap and the middle ring as well, and the Östergötland is not in any position to contest. The Richelieu might be, if he's pushing. I'm not sure why the Richelieu is not pushing. I don't know what he's afraid of. There isn't really anything that, or at least not an awful lot that we can do. Oh, hello Östergötland. Okay, Östergötland's firing at me, so he's got torpedoes away. But they are not going to be in range. I'm just going to change the speed a little bit, just briefly, to dodge these just in case. And I'm just here yeah, there they come. And they would have range. They would have had range, almost. So good that I was dodging. And yeah, well, I'm just here to control the center area while everybody else is faffing about with whatever the heck they're doing out there. We still haven't killed anything, but because we've been holding the center ring and the middle ring, we are now ahead on points. So unless the enemy team is getting some kills in, we are going to win this on points. Now, so torpedo soup out on the Iowa. But I think the Iowa knows that. Unfortunately, I couldn't dodge that dive bomber drop. I was a little bit too late with the fuel smoke. You would have to fuel smoke before the carrier locks on, because obviously the planes don't need to see you, they just come in. And yeah, the Iowa isn't stupid and has not been running into all those torpedoes. And I think our Yugomo is not in a good spot there. So we'll give some fire support. Obviously the Black Takao is the most dangerous against him. And dodging underneath. And yes, there are going to be torpedoes in the way again, so we're going to be nose in. And Yugomo buggers off. Yugomo has survived because we've managed to deter the enemy Takao. There come the torpedoes as predicted, that's why I'm not staying there. Iowa is tucked in behind the island, and honestly, we don't need to kill anyone. We can win this on points. We still haven't killed anything. We've just lost our carrier because he's a bit of a muppet. So let's see if we can get a bit of more of an aggressive run going against the Iowa, because he is bow in. Oh, there comes the Östergötland as well. And I also have a Harlem. I believe that's the Harlem. Yeah, there come the dive bombers. So Harlem over there as well. A lot more than I'm comfortable with in terms of firepower, so I'm gonna bugger out of here. I just wanted to make sure that these guys are staying out of the central cup, and yeah, there comes the carrier as well. So these are just area denial torpedoes. There comes the airdrop, obvious triple fire, and now we're just gonna run a little. But we're so far ahead on points that I don't think we need to kill anything. This is purely about control. And since they've never managed to get back, since we've taken down the Östergötland to low hit points, and never got to the point of they never got to the point of trying to retake the center cup. Now they're retaking the center cup. That might be the Östergötland, because I don't know where he is, but it's too little, too late. It's 30 seconds before end of the game. I just have to survive against the carrier drop and that Harlem over there. So let's see if we can speed Duke a little of that shot. And there comes the carrier drop. There are the torpedoes. Okay, it's just one torpedo bomber. he might be out of planes at this point. And well, we've killed something. And I think the Harlem went down. So that was the only kill we got. Östergötland has recovered hit points, and the enemy Black Takao now has taken the center cup, but it's too little, too late. So at the end of the day, with only one kill on each team, we're winning on points. And the aggressive play here has definitely paid off in terms of securing the cup and securing the points income. And having the fuel smoke around to make that happen has been quite useful. So even though we haven't done an awful lot of damage, it's yeah, and our Lexington has done exactly 0 damage to anybody. Wow, that takes some skill. Anyway, so a Black Takao, is it a good ship? Is it worth it? Well, like I said, it's a more aggressive Takao, and it's If you like that sort of style, then definitely. The original Takao does not necessarily have the capability to do that kind of thing. So if you want a ship that's a bit more multi-role and you still like it as a Japanese heavy cruiser, then definitely worth it in my opinion. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.